I bet it's brand new information to people that President Obama had a 6-month ban on the Iraqi refugee program after 2 Iraqis came here to this country, were radicalized, and they were the masterminds behind the Bowling Green massacre. Most people don't know that because it didn't get covered.
So the Bowling Green massacre, of course, never happened. And while it's easy to poke fun at Kellyanne Conway, or what she later called an honest mistake, there's something darker at play here. The invention of a massacre in order to further demonize Muslim immigrants, in this case, Iraqi refugees. And joining me now, Dean Obeidallah, host of the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM, Jay Newton-Small, contributor to Time Magazine, and Naveed Jamali, former intelligence operative. Okay, so Dean, yes. You're here because we were texting about this when you wrote a piece about this sort of broad demonization of Muslims, whether it's immigrants, whether it's refugees, or whether it's American Muslims, quite frankly. This idea of inventing a massacre, funny or dangerous?
It's very dangerous. And Breitbart, during the holiday season, said there was another attack somewhere in Norway. I looked at the local papers. It was not there. They're literally manufacturing lies about Muslims to demonize us, to gin up the fear. And I'm going to be honest, and I'm not being hyperbolic, it is like 1930s Germany, the demonization of Jews. And this is the language. They're making us not human, so you fear every Muslim. And it's scary. And look what happened. You had Quebec. You had a terror attack in Quebec where 6 Muslims were killed. Donald Trump talks about the scary incident in Paris, which is every right to do that. Doesn't tweet at all about the 6 Muslims killed in Quebec by an anti-immigrant guy who was an online Trump supporter. And we really get a sense as Muslims that our lives don't matter to our leaders of our government right now in the Trump administration. In fact, not only don't they matter, they don't like us. They might even hate us. And we're at least a pawn.
And I mean, at the same time, Jay, you did have the administration come out very strongly when they thought the Quebec shooter was Moroccan. And they pulled back considerably when it turned out he was a white Trump supporter, right? That he was a Christian white Trump supporter. It sort of went radio silent. And then you had Donald Trump on Friday tweeting about an attack near the Louvre in Paris, where one person was attacked. And he says, a new radical Islamic terrorist has just attacked in Louvre Museum in Paris. Not true. Tourists were locked down. France on edge again. Get smart, U.S. So there does seem to be a rolling theme here that only the attacker is a Muslim, only when they can further demonize. The administration seems to be consistently doing this, and they don't seem to be turning it around.
And Donald Trump did call Prime Minister Trudeau in Canada after the attack in Quebec and did sort of extend his condolences to the Canadian people. But it's true that in terms of what he chooses to highlight, what he chooses to tweet about, and that's really what Donald Trump's sort of stream of consciousness is all about, is his Twitter feed, he really only picks and chooses his news that underlines the scary, sort of horrible terrorist threat of Muslims, and really never strikingly says, here are all the good things that about Muslim society, Muslim culture, that we should celebrate. And if you consistently sort of demonize these people, it's, you know, they're making the case right now, the administration, that somehow this ban on 7 different countries coming in terms of immigrants to the United States does nothing to do with Islam, even though Donald Trump had said that the Syrian ban would not apply to Christians. And that's the case that their lawyers are making in the courts right now. But it's hard to imagine that the two are not tied when they spend so much time, the president spends so much time tweeting and talking about the evils of Islam and how they're going to kill us all. They're so you know, they're dangerous. They're evil people, as he tweeted yesterday morning, are celebrating around the world because the ban has been suspended. And so it is really problematic when you have them going after this one culture in particular as the kind of bogeyman.
And Naveed, you know, you put it all together. You have Steve Bannon that has this longtime philosophy that the West, the Christian white West, is at war with Islam. You have Michael Flynn, who has the exact same philosophy, who has essentially said that Islam isn't even really a religion. It's just a radical political philosophy that we are at war with. You have numerous members of Trump world who think this. You have Donald Trump who thinks this. And now you have the Trump administration changing the CVE. This is this counter-extremism program, to countering violent extremism is what it's called. And they're going to take out the part of extremism that includes white nationalists, American Christian terrorists, and take them out. And this is the exchange that happened between Sean Spicer and April Ryan on Friday when she tried to question the administration about taking a program that's supposed to counter all violent extremism, including Dylann Roof-style extremism, and make it focus solely on Muslims. This is the exchange.
When we have something to announce on that, we will do it. But I don't think it should be any surprise that the president, when it comes to rooting out radical Islamic terrorism, which is what that initially was supposed to be focused on, he is going to make sure that that is a major focus of his keeping this country safe.
So, Naveed, just as a matter of, intelligence, as an intelligence matter, does it help or hurt the sort of goal of countering violent extremism if you are singularly focused on one religious group?
You know, Joy, it's a good question. You know, I am totally for intelligence-driven police and intelligence-driven national security. Look, after September 11th, what did we do? We stopped all air travel in the United States because the intelligence community didn't have fidelity as to what was going to happen next. Now, you know, with all the leaks that's happening in the government, that everything that's come out, everything, including Sean Spicer's email password, what we haven't had is actually any information that says, look, there is a specific threat between these 7 countries that is A, so valid, and B, so huge that we can't stop it in time that would justify essentially stopping people from 7 countries coming. So if you don't have that specific intelligence that would justify such a ban, you have to wonder, what is the intent? And look, we have a president who you know, campaigned on a Muslim ban, a Muslim registry, and I got to tell you, I think there are people out here that want to use the Benjamin Moore approach. They want to have a paid swatch, and that's how they want to decide who's going to come in. And FYI, it's not going to be hot caramel with an eggshell finish that they're going to let in. That's not going to be on the go list.
Yeah.
This is a very clear, non-intelligence-driven, non-threat specific action that is meant to, frankly, discriminate. I can't think of any other cause of it.
And I think we have to start, Dean, using our sort of lurid imagination in a way, right? Because you can never predict what this administration is going to do, but you have to start thinking sort of the worst, right? So what is the worst? Are we talking about a Muslim registry? Are we talking about monitoring mosques? What, in your view, what does your community fear?
I think actually some kind of internment camp. I mean, in Japanese, when they did the internment camp of Japanese Americans, 60% were born in the United States of America. So I'm born here, but they could do it for a certain group of men at a certain age. They could somehow deprive us of our rights or just create a toxic environment where we're viewed as less than American. Getting back to the CVE program, next week a man is going on trial in Tennessee, Robert Doggart, a Christian minister, for what? For plotting to kill Muslims with machetes, with guns. A guy was sentenced in December, Glennon Scott Crawford, 30 years to life for what? He was a white supremacist plotting to kill Muslims in upstate New York. In September, 3 men called the Crusaders, as in Christian Crusaders, plotting to kill Muslims in Kansas, Muslim refugees over there. The media barely covers this, so we get this narrative that all Muslims, only terrorism is for Muslims. No, there are white supremacists who want to kill me and kill people in my community, and this media is ignoring it, and the president is dangerously ignoring it, and we're going to have a Quebec situation. As sure as we're sitting here, I'm sorry to say this, someone's going to walk into a mosque and kill Muslims unless something is done about this.
And you've already had mosques burned. And Naveed, keeping with that imagination, I can't help but put together this idea of demonizing Muslims and migrants in the United States and what does sound like the threat of military action or something like that in the Middle East, threatening in Yemen, threatening in Iran. Is that too crazy to think? And getting the American people to support something like that?
Yeah, look, this administration has sort of taken, and it's frankly how the president campaigned. It was one chaotic moment after the other, so you just couldn't focus on anything because the next sort of chaos happened. I like to think, and I've often said this, I'm an American, I have extraordinary faith in our institutions. Those institutions will remain after the president leaves, and they serve no one president. And I like to think that there's checks and balances. But is it beyond the realm of possibility that that there would be some effort to distract what's happening here by something else? No. I mean, clearly we also have a president who I think erroneously believes that somehow Russia is going to help him fight not just ISIS but sort of this global concept of Islam. And I think that is just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's scary to think about it, but I think we have to start using sort of our lurid imagination just because you just do not know what's coming with this administration. Dean Obeidallah and Naveed Jamali, thank you very much.